Hey Proxy, I'm Rook and welcome to the DA Crash Course. So Notorious Dead End Butcher, who I'll call Debbie for short, is an ethereal boss that's a wizard. This boss is an advanced version of the regular one, so let's go through some tips to get your 3-star clears. So Notorious Debbie is very weak against disorder teams. The TLDR of its summary is that it takes less damage in days while it is in hand state. You can check by the color of Debbie's hand and it becomes magically aggressive. You'll need to either daze or cause a disorder to get rid of it. There are 2 requirements for this to happen. First, you need at least 2 different anomalies building up, and then you need to proc one of them to activate an effect. It could be burn, shock, whatever. It could be any anomaly effect. You proc the other anomaly to activate a disorder. Although you can technically do this with any team style, I highly recommend using your anomaly agents. You can build up the bar faster, you can proc disorder faster. Also, the boss takes increased attribute anomaly damage by like 50%, so keep that in mind. Now, if you don't have an anomaly agent, build a team that has at least 2 characters of the same element and the third with a different element, preferably its weakness, ice or ether. Yet this boss isn't resistant to any attribute. But no matter what kind of team you make up, never run a mono type team. For this reason, a monotype team means a team with only one element, so unless there's a specific character that says they can still proc disorder despite that, then just don't do it. 2 characters that are out right now that come to my mind are Yanagi, which is her specialty, and Miyabi, because, well, it's Miyabi. Now, when it comes down to your score, you'll be rewarded 200 points per perfect dodge. And even though that sounds like nickels and dimes, we'll get to why that's a good thing later. Here's the hard part about the boss, is knowing when to dodge, because it likes to do a lot of feint moves, meaning that it likes to make you dodge early so it can hit you and combo you. So I found this channel with an even more in-depth guide on perfect dodging this enemy, and they did a way better job than I ever could. So I'll link it into the channel description. I'll link the channel and I'll put the video in the description. But there are still 3 factors you should be aware of even if you watch that video. So Debbie does 2 things that are hard to interrupt. It summons a laser and it also does a blender move where it spins around like a maniac. This is a good and a bad thing because you have to deal with it regardless no matter what you do. But on the other hand, it's a good way to build anomaly or set up rotations before he attacks. Of course, you can still stun him if needed. The next thing you should be aware of is that when he turns invisible, Debbie may or may not indicate a parryable move. This is very important to realize, so if you're hoping that he will summon a yellow flash, it's not always going to do that. However, the timing is still the same, and if you keep practicing your perfect dodges, you can time the dodge regardless. Lastly, be aware that most of his magical moves have a follow-up attack that tracks, such as the exploding bubble. You can time your EX move to get iframes, but you can also perfect dodge them if you need to save the energy. So those are the 2 ways you can avoid those follow-ups. Okay, so teams. During the making of this video, which is patch 1.7, Vivian is the latest addition to the roster that can easily disable this boss. Like, it's not even close. Other agents that bully him are Yanagi and Bernice. All 3 of these agents specialize in disorder teams, as they shut down the Notorious Debbie's mechanic. Strangely enough, characters like Trigger, who appear off-field and do off-field damage, does a good amount of anomaly buildup from their aftershocks. My personal blueprint is to have a main anomaly DPS for damage, a burst or off-field DPS for buildup or debuffs, and a main support for buffs. Okay, let's talk about drive sets. Now, what I find most successful is finding a 4-piece Freedom Blue set for the common attribute on the team, while also having a teammate run 4-piece Astral if there are any quick assists. I recommend using a Bangbu with the common attribute, so you're running 2 ice characters, for example, using Ice Anomaly Bangbu. Going back to the Disorder Powerpuff Girls, if you're running Yanagi, Bernice, or Vivian, I would just leave their best sets on no matter what their role is. But if you feel like building up the anomaly effect is very slow for your team, maybe a 2-piece Phaethon's Melody could increase your anomaly mastery, thus increasing your anomaly buildup rate. Now, if your team is focused on chain attacks, use 4-piece Swing Jazz. What this does is increase your overall damage every time you start a chain attack or ult. So if you just got that new Hugo and you have Lycan and Lighter, although it's not the most optimal team to go against this boss, you can still make it work. So that helps maintain your attack percent boost. So Proxy, that was our first crash course and there will be more to come. If you enjoyed the vid, maybe a like or sub. Or if you want to tell me how terrible I did, maybe leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Hope this guy helped you out, and I hope I get to see you around, Proxy. Take care.